Okay. Okay, so here we are. This is the Hatha Yoga Pradipika. This is chapter 2, verse 55, page 246, if you happen to have this edition. He is adored by the circle of yoginis and becomes the controller of creation and dissolution, being without hunger, thirst, sleep, and laziness. According to this sloka, the perfectionist of Sitkari is adored or worshipped by the chakra or circle of yoginis. But what exactly is the chakra of yogini? Chakra usually refers to a particular circle, which is a source of energy. Yogini is a female yogi, the embodiment of Shakti, the cosmic creative force. In Tantra, there is an order of 64 yoginis who represent the 64 tantras and the 64 perfections of yoga. The aspects and evolution of cosmic Shakti from its source are represented by the Sri Yantra or chakra. Sri Yantra is the formula of creation, manifestation, and dissolution of the micro and macro cosmos. It is constituted, well, okay, you get the drift, by a number of interlacing triangles, which are known as yoginis. They represent the cosmic Shakti and the manifestation of human existence. Sri Yantra also represents each individual. The chakra of yoginis symbolizes every function of the gross and subtler bodies, the functions of mind, and the integration with the soul. Our entire existence is controlled or operated by various forms of Shakti, or a specific yogini or devi. Each individual person is a manifestation of the chakra of yoginis. Thus it is said that through the practice of Sitkari, the whole body comes under the control of the practitioner. In fact, perfection of any of the pranayamas leads to the control of the body mechanisms, stabilization of the mental tendencies, and deeper awareness of the mind-body complex. Sitkari particularly works on the heat and cold aspect of the body. Control of any two opposite forces in the body or mind leads to control of the other aspects of the physical, mental, emotional, and psychic makeup. Swat Marama specifically mentions that Sitkari eliminates indolence and the need and desire to eat, drink, and sleep. So I don't have this online, so I'll have to show it like this. Here is the visual that is presented with this sloka. But I'm glad, Pam and Amanda, that you're around, because this seems like a real basic philosophical statement. And I'm not sure at all what it means. So help.
It's funny you said that, Sue, because I've never even heard of any of this.
Oh, so Sri Yantra is something that you can gaze upon as you meditate. It could be a point of focus. I don't know the exact practices he's talking about, but I could speak to like what he means by like these Shakti is like when we talk about Sankhya philosophy, which we've talked about a great extent now, we have the Purusha, the consciousness, which organizes the matter. And a part of matter is this like turbulent nature of creation. And that's Shakti. So sometimes when they make it easier by personifying things. So if we think of like consciousness as the masculine, and then Prakriti, the movement and energy behind matter, as the feminine. The feminine is creative, right? The female creates life and is constantly like expanding and expressive. So, and then the male is like this pool of consciousness that with potential, unrealized potential, I guess you could say, or like unmanifest potential. So Prakriti is the manifest, and then Purusha is the unmanifest. Am I losing you?
Yeah, a little bit. I am confused about, I see in the drawing, I see the triangles that represent the yoginis, and I hope, am I saying that correctly?
Yeah.
Okay, so I see the triangles that represent the yoginis, and then outside of the triangles, I see the beautifully curved. I don't know if you can see it. There's triangles on the inside, and what's interesting is that the triangles are created in all sorts of different ways. The triangles are created in all sorts of different ways, and they're surrounded by this beautiful, I assume, lotus flower, and then circles encase it, and then a more angular series of what are essentially rectangles encase that. And to me, that has some kind of particular significance. And so first, I don't know what the significance of this drawing is, but aside from the fact it's really beautiful, it's one of those drawings that you just look at it and you know it means something. And I'm curious, is this a drawing that's supposed to be a visualization of the sloka we just read? That's my first question. The second is, not sure I understand about the yoginis.
So you remember we talked about those experiments they were doing with the sand and the sound, where they would
Yes, yeah.
play the megahertz and it would create a picture? This is one of them that comes up with a certain sound. So, I mean, he's talking about the accomplishments, which makes sense. It's like the different things that you can gain. He's getting into tantric philosophy, which I haven't studied at length. So I feel like I'm calling it the yoginis. My guess is that it's like another way of understanding the accomplishments, or understanding like the different modes of nature. For example, right now it's I don't know if we're still in a Navratri, which explores the yoginis in Hindu mythology. And each one represents an energy of the physical universe. So, for example, you have who's a good example? Durga represents destruction and dissolution. You have Lakshmi, who represents abundance in the universe and fertility. It's like I'm guessing that's who they're referencing when they're saying the yoginis, but maybe if we read on, they'll clarify.
So
Okay.
weird that she just started talking about, yeah, like maybe it doesn't make sense because she just went from breathwork to this random
Well,
topic.
she's referencing a certain practice, correct? What is that practice she's saying?
Shitkari.
Shikari, can you look that up? I mean, maybe it's, I don't have Isabel as my laptop, sorry.
Was there a point though, like where you were like what was the point that you like were trying to make by referencing that passage?
Me?
No, well, the person who read it.
Well, it was the chapter in the book. It wasn't.
I think they're trying to explain the nature of the universe through this other lens.
Oh.
And like the benefits that you get from Shikari. It's like, it sounds like these yoginis will smile upon you. And
well, Shikari is one of the pranayamas we went through, I think. But
Yeah, the hissing,
which one?
the hissing breath, the cooling breath, I think is
No,
also.
that's the Tari. Hold on, I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, I think I can scroll back, but Amanda, I used to have a teacher that would welcome the class and say, "Hi, yogis and yoginis," and I always thought that yoginis meant like little yogis, like less.
Like an Italian? No, yeah, they mean women.
Yeah, but it meant. Then I learned it was like male and female, but then I thought there really wasn't gender in yoga, but I guess in different lineages.
No, there definitely is.
Oh,
I mean, like we're all as humans considered feminine, and then and then the greater consciousness is considered masculine, like if we want to really genderize everything, but like even on the basis of, like my teachers say, the men are usually called Prabhu, but like we're modern, so we call everybody Prabhu, but it's usually a different word for the female. This is a language thing. Wait, how do you spell the Shikari?
That's it. What's up on the screen?
Oh, I'm not looking at it because I don't have my
Oh,
computer.
wait a minute. No, it's Seetkari is what's the Seetkari referred to in
There it
this,
is. Okay.
no H. So if I look it up in the back of the book, if I ever find it, yeah, it's sometimes it's spelled with an H and sometimes
Oh,
without
I
the,
see. So it is Shatali. They're
yeah.
just calling it something else. Okay.
So this is interesting. All right, so
So you
should
gain a lot of accomplishments from doing pranayama. Like she's explaining, I think what her point is she's explaining like you start to overcome the barriers to not being able to control the physicality of the world, the world of your inner body. And when they're talking about these yoginis, the world of the outer environment. Like I'm reading another book in the Bhakti tradition, which personifies everything, which is sort of like an interesting, easier way to understand stuff. And they're just talking about how there is like a controlling aspect to each part of nature. So there's a controlling aspect to fire that if you understand the nature of it, you can get on its good side essentially, and then gain all the benefits of being able to manipulate that fire. And it's the same with air. It's the same with, they say that we reincarnate, right? And we take on these other bodies. But even the quote unquote bodies, like they're not physical bodies, there's quote unquote spiritual bodies that would dictate or sort of their job is to take care of those things. I think they're called devas. So like you can reincarnate in your next life into a higher form. It's not just human, it's not just cow, it's not just bug, right? There are all these different forms that you can. I might be getting ahead of myself, but maybe keep reading and let's see what it says, right? Because the idea is like if you master pranayama, you don't have to eat as much. This is like something I've directly experienced. It's very strange. You don't have to sleep as much. You don't even have to breathe as much. It's really weird. But it's like this mastery that happens over the physicality of the functioning of the body. So anyway, go ahead, keep reading.
okay, so moving right along, this is verse 56. It's on page 248, chapter 2. And the sattva in the body becomes free from all disturbances. Truly, by the aforementioned method, one becomes Lord of Yogis on this earth. There are three qualities or gunas of the body, mind, and nature which bind the consciousness: tamas, rajas, and sattva. Each of us has these three qualities, but they do not exist in equal proportions. One always predominates. In order to achieve higher states of consciousness, sattva has to become predominant, although ultimately one also has to go beyond that. Most people in this Kali Yuga are tamasic, dull and lethargic, or rajasic, dynamic and ambitious by nature. But through yoga and other evolutionary sciences, sattva, balance, harmony, and one-pointedness can be developed. Sattva represents the highest point in the evolution of the human mind. Here, Yogi Swatmarama is saying that through the practice of Seetkari Pranayama, the body and mind can both be brought into the state of harmony, and therefore sattva will become the dominating quality. One who has completely transcended tamas and rajas and is ruled by sattva is indeed a great yogi. But I don't think she's saying that if you just practice that particular kind of breathing, you're going to achieve complete balance and so on and so forth. I mean, that sounds like it would be
I don't know. She
too
said
easy.
earlier that if you master any of the pranayamas, you'll start to gain all this mastery.
But how? Well, okay. But even earlier, was this, this was either here or in the sutras, but I think it was here. Doesn't she say, look, if you practice these things, but you still have a lot of toxins and a lot of major imbalance in your body,
Yeah.
these things will basically just go to maintain a little bit of stability. They're not going to take you to the next level.
Well, they can harm you too. I think that then you're not doing the practices. You're not really mastering them, is the point.
I see.
Like, in order to master them, you have to be sattvic. You have to get yourself to a sattvic state.
We're always
Nope.
looking for the loopholes, Sue, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I asked, you know, and I think I'll buy a lottery ticket today too. So here we go. Okay, so verses 57 and 58 on page 249. Shitali pranayama, cooling breath. The wise inhale air through the tongue and practice kumbhaka, as described before, then exhale the air through the nostrils. This kumbhaka called Shitali cures an enlarged stomach or spleen and other related diseases, fever, excess bile, hunger, and thirst, and counteracts poisons. Shitali means cooling breath, and it also means calm, passionless, unemotional. Like Shikari, this pranayama was specifically designed to reduce the body temperature. However, these practices not only cool and calm the physical body, they also affect the mind in the same way. In technique 1, sit in a comfortable meditative posture, preferably Siddhasana, Siddha Yoni Asana, and close your eyes. Keep the hands on the knees in either jhana or chin mudra. Protrude the tongue from the mouth, extended to a comfortable distance. Roll up the sides so that it forms a tube. Then breathe in slowly and deeply through the tube-like tongue. At the end of inhalation, close the mouth, breathe out through the nose. Practice 9 rounds initially. Later on, you can practice for up to 10 minutes. Technique 2. Practice in the same way as technique 1, but retain the breath after inhalation. Practice Janlahara and Mula Bandhas and hold the breath for as long as comfortable. Release Mula Bandha and then Janlahara Bandha. And then when the head is erect, breathe out through the nose in a controlled manner. Practice for the same duration as technique 1. In technique 3, do the same as technique 2, but count the duration of the inhalation, retention, and exhalation. Initially practice to a ratio of 1 to 1 to 1. When this becomes easy, increase the ratio to 1 to 2 to 2, and later 1 to 4 to 2. Shitali should be done after asana or any heating pranayama, but it can also be practiced at any time during the day. It can even be done at night during summer months, especially for therapeutic benefits. The benefits of Shitali and Shitkari are basically the same. These two practices are unique because inhalation is done through the mouth. In every other yoga practice, and in breathing in general, we are always told to breathe in through the nose. When the breath is taken through the nose heats up and cleans the incoming air. This infringement is acceptable provided you do not practice in a dirty, polluted atmosphere or in excessively cold weather. When you breathe through the teeth or tongue, the air is cooled by the saliva, and this cools the blood vessels in the mouth, throat, and lungs. In turn, the stomach, liver, and whole body are cooled. Because Shitali and Shitkari soothe away mental tension, they are useful techniques for alleviating psychosomatic disease, such as high blood pressure. They also purify the blood and, of course, improve digestion. There is only a slight difference between Shitkari and Shitali. In Shitkari, awareness is focused on the hissing sound, and in Shitali, it is kept on the cooling sensations of the breath. There are also minor differences which affect different parts of the nervous system, but ultimately the impulses are sent to the central nervous system and brain. If we move on to the next one, then we move on to a different,
Yeah, I feel like we should pause. Because this is
Mhm.
a long one.
Okay.
Unless anyone, and then we can just start breath or have like a little chat and then start breath, and this way we end on time.
So the only thing that I was thinking of when I was reading this is it's kind of it's nice to have two cooling breath techniques. It's really nice, especially since I'm one of those people, I can't roll my tongue, but I can do a hissing breath, but there's no way. I mean, I guess my tongue just doesn't want to go that way. I can't roll my tongue to do the second one. So it's nice we have a choice.
I think I've heard the tongue thing is a genetic thing. It's not something you can just train yourself.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, because I don't think my sisters can either. Although the only way I can get them to try is if I take them out and give them a couple of beers. But anyway.
I feel like because we read Shitkari last week and then we had the weekend, I think that's what caused a little bit more confusion starting. Also it being like a dreary Monday morning, moving into that chakra chapter, because now I feel like it seems a little clear to me, less confusing. And I was getting confused between the Shitkari and Shitali. And also I have learned the Shitali breath as stitali, like a different word. So I was really getting confused.
Mhm.
I have not heard the hissing breath, but I've practiced the tongue breath. I love that breath, especially in a hot day during summer. Such a simple way to cool yourself down.
I got the hissing breath from another yoga teacher who trained in Malvern, and I've done it several times. I've never found it to be particularly cooling for me, but then I have a feeling this is one of those things that takes practice, and once you do it right, then you start feeling some of the effects. You also have to put your heart and soul in it, and sometimes when I'm doing hissing breath, it just makes me kind of grin, and then you're not doing hissing breath anymore. So
Well, I can roll my tongue, so I can notice immediately when I roll my tongue and I pull air in that way. You can feel it's an immediate temperature change. Like you don't just do it the first time. So I don't know. I don't know about the hissing breath because I haven't tried it, but the other one I can feel it immediately.
I could sort of see that, because if you're rolling your tongue, first of all, your tongue is protruding a little bit, and the whole underside of your tongue is showing. And the underside of your tongue is usually against the base of your mouth, which is a pretty warm area. If you remember the old-fashioned thermometers, they used to stick them under your tongue.
Yeah.
And the reason they did that was to get an accurate read of your body temperature, because it keeps it closer to body temperature, because they're like this, the tongue and the floor of the mouth. So
Well, and it also almost creates a tunnel. Well, no, it doesn't. It like legit creates a tunnel of air when you're pulling it in too. So like,
yes, yeah,
it's a tunnel.
yeah. Well, as Amanda said, it's almost a science of medicine that's been around for thousands of years, and
Yeah.
you don't necessarily need high tech to get some pretty high tech results.
I'm just quickly skimming over what we first started reading just to see if I can get it to make sense in my brain.
That short sloka with the beautiful picture.
Yeah.
I'm gonna draw that picture. I just can't figure out how I can do everything with help from my tools with precision except the lotus flowers. I have to figure out how I'm gonna do those.
Yeah, it is pretty.
Yeah, and there's something about it that I find very appealing and very centering. I'm gonna do a couple of those.
All right. Well, should we move into breath?
Sure.
So sit up nice and tall. Taking a few breaths in through the nose and out through the nose. If you want to play with that hissing breath, if you have that in your practice, or the tongue breath. Although I'm already cold, so I don't want to play with that today.
Yeah.
I'm just taking a few rounds of breath in through the nose and out through the nose. Beginning to set your drishti, your gaze, bringing it to a point outside, letting your eyes settle on it. Maybe closing the eyes and bringing the gaze inside. Using what you want with the hands, whether they're palms down or palms up, and some sort of mudra, maybe pointer and thumb to touch. Relax the shoulders. And then just begin to lengthen the breath in and out for equal count. 4 in, 4 out. And check in with the breath and make sure it's going deep into the low belly. And then we'll bring our hand over our face, setting up for alternate nostril breathing. Right thumb will close right nostril. Right ring finger will close left nostril. We'll start by closing the right. Inhale through your left. Close left. Exhale right. Inhale right. Close right. Exhale left. Inhale left. Close left. Exhale right. Inhale right. Close right. Exhale left. Inhale left. Close left. Exhale right. Inhale right. Close right. Exhale left. Taking 5 more rounds on your own breath. Adding retentions if it's in your practice. Taking your time to finish, you'll exhale out of left nostril. I'll set the timer for 20 minutes. Bringing hands together in front of your heart. Namaste.